What's going on, Collectibles family? It's another day. It is another Collectibles Dad video. We're trying to get a little bit more consistent on the second channel. Hopefully you guys are doing amazingly well. We have made it to 2024. I just got a fresh haircut today, feeling good about myself, and wanted to put this out there. So every month on the sports card side or the non-sports TCG trading card side on my other channel, we kind of do a grading review. There's a great company, Gem Rate, that talks about the big four on the sports card and the TCG side. And it's, of course, PSA, SGC, CGC, and Beckett. Now, we've been talking so much. There's been so much talk about what's going on with CGC, the scandal, if you will, about people. I should say people. There's definitely one person, maybe people, that have been able to maneuver comic books out of cases by using glue guns, hot glue guns, and all sorts of weirdness. They're able to take it out of the inner well, slip in a new book, and we are none the wiser. And I think that that's something that until we get a new slab for CGC, this is something that I had talked about. I've heard others talk about this as well. We need a higher security slab. I understand it might not be cost effective, but we need something that's a little bit tighter on security.
Dead or alive, you're coming with me.
It's clear that, you know, if somebody can take a comic book out of a slab and move it into a new slab semi-undetectably, at least not to the average Joe, because keep in mind, if you're somebody that's a mega dealer or something, or you're in the space every day, maybe you do notice something weird on the bottom where you're like, I don't really like how this looks. This slab looks like it's been tampered with. But think about the average person collector that's just buying slabs on the internet. And of course, new people coming in that are just learning about the space. Do they know what to look for? No, of course they don't. Is there enough education out there to be able to decipher what is what as far as the slab goes for comic books? I'll be honest, I mean, I probably got 50 to 60 CGC graded books. I probably wouldn't notice on the bottom where it might have been tampered with, or I might just think, you know what, maybe that's just part of the case. I probably wouldn't think anything of it until this thing hit, where now we know that there's a few hundred books that have been affected. And of course, the thing that stinks is CGC does a great job. They are a company that has expertise, and it's being undermined because of this issue with this case. And yeah, I know some people have said, this is 1% or 0.01% of books. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter. A few hundred books, and that's based on the initial investigation. There could very well be more. That's a lot. That's a lot when you're talking about highly traded books like Hulk 181, we'll use as an example. Hulk 181 is a comic book that has high demand. It's on the sports card side, it's kind of akin to an 86 Fleer Jordan rookie card. It's something that turns over all the time. It's a very liquid comic book, the same way an 86 Fleer Jordan is. It'll sell at each kind of grading, at each grade, it'll sell for a specific price point. Same with the Hulk 181. You could run it at auction. It's not going to get 0 bids. It's going to get bought. And so what do we need in the space? For collectibles, of course, we need that higher security slab. But one thing that we have on the sports card, trading card side, is pretty heavy grading competition between those four companies. And man, what would I wish for? What would I wish for? I wish that SGC and PSA would get into the comic book grading space, both of them. One of them, okay, but really both of them. Because I think, again, we already have CGC on the trading card side competing. It would be awesome to have PSA, who's owned by Collectors Universe. It also owns WATA, and I think they also grade Funko Pops, and then also have SGC, which is number 2 in volume of sports cards and does an excellent job with turnaround times, run like a well-oiled machine. I would love to see both of those companies get in and compete with CGC on the comic book grading side. Now, it might not be worth their while. I don't know the X's and the O's. I don't know the bottom line. They might look at the space and think, oh, you know what? There's just not enough in it for us. I really don't know. I've never seen the balance sheet on a grading company to really know really how profitable are these companies, because of course you've got insurances, you've got different things that you've got to figure out. I know people think that grading companies just rake in all this money, and of course they probably do pretty well as far as revenue goes, but you got to pay employees, you got to pay for a building, you got to pay for supplies. There's things to pay for. So the idea that these are Amazon type companies, these Jeff Bezos, Amazon companies, I don't think so. I think they probably do pretty well, but there are, of course, expenses associated with a grading company. And it shows, I think, security being one of these things that is going to need to happen with slabs. Costs are going to go up. And of course, they're probably going to pass those costs on to the consumer, but I think that it's worthwhile for those, especially that want some added protection in their slab. And so, man, wouldn't it be so cool just to have a couple really strong companies like what we have on the trading card side get in on the comic book side? Ironically, on the graded video game side, we have more competition than on the comic book side, basically. You've got CGC, you've got WADA, which is owned by PSA, and then you've also got VGA, who is a longtime grading company. The one thing that's really kind of missing on the graded video game side, it's going to be a separate video, pop reports, population reports, knowing what's out there. There needs to be some advancements. I'll save that for another video. There's some things that they've already got in place, but it's just not good enough. So we'll talk about that in a separate video. This is just throwing a quick thought out into the universe. We need some more competition with CGC. CGC, like I said, I think they do a great job. I think that there's a lot of good things, but they don't have any real competitors. I know CBCS, am I saying the acronym right? It's Beckett, and they also do business, and I think they also do some things pretty well, but that company is not in a position to really challenge CGC. There needs to be another. There needs to be another or a couple of others to really kind of press and squeeze this a little bit more, because we need it to be better. Because there's no shortage of demand, there's no shortage of comic book collectors, there's no shortage of people I think that want to get into the space, but just need a little bit more assurance, need a little bit more ingenuity. Maybe on the comic book side, CGC remains that number one grading company, but it never hurts to have a challenger come in and really push and really challenge to see what can happen. And of course, as we know, iron sharpens iron. Competition is good for the space. All right, guys, let me know your thoughts. I hope everybody had a great new year. And we head into 2024 hoping for all things collectibles going good. Let's keep it on the up and up. Stay healthy, stay awesome, and I will talk to you again later.